All right, well, let's talk about these map bans. It's going to be a ban on Dragonshire by GLuck. That's a very smart ban. I think a lot more teams need to be banning this map against the big three. And it's going to be a Braxis ban by Tempest, so we're going into Infernal Shrines for game 1.
And GLuck's choice, Medivh ends the ban. They know something's up, so might as well just take it out. And it seems like an easy Maiev ban, but GLuck got destroyed by KSP Black after picking those two Maiev by Rich's Tracer.
Yeah, it was not a good time.
It was a bad... It was actually 2 games, not just 1.
Yeah, dropping Maev's win rate down a little bit.
So they're thinking, I'm pretty sure Tempest is ready for that Maiev if we leave it open.
Yeah.
But there's also that Genji and Hanzo. Which one do we ban?
Who do you think is stronger, just for the sake of argument? Maiev or
Maiev,
Phoenix?
yes.
Do you think Maiev is still stronger than Phoenix?
Oh, I think Phoenix is actually pretty strong. But
we're gonna
Maiev
see
will be
one of those
getting
two.
the nerf. Oh, got the nerf, so got the nerf in this patch. And I think Phoenix, unless his numbers change big time, I think Phoenix will be one of the strongest hero joining in the Nexus.
I think so too. Even if his numbers get nerfed, unless it's a hot fix. Oh god, they're doing it again. Maiev, this time against them. Even if his numbers get nerfed, unless it's a hot fix that happens like in the next day or two, when he's available, will still be on Phoenix patch for like, or at least the first wave nerfs, so he'll still be very strong. GLuck has allowed the Maiev pick through. Maybe they've learned something about their loss against KSV Black, where they were given the Maiev to play and were just shut down by Tracer. Non-stop, the Towers of Doom game especially comes to mind.
It is not the same team though. Individually, mechanically, by teamwork, experience, very, very different if you compare GLuck and KSP Black. So, I'm pretty sure they have a draft in their head. What kind of draft they want to have against that Maiev. But is that going to work out? Okay,
Malfurion Tracer.
Seems like they are keeping that KSP way against that Maiev.
They will have to play very well with the Tracer to avoid being tethered. That was the cool thing about Rich's Tracer, is he always played within the tether range, never got yanked.
Yes, the bind never really worked for the team.
He always had recall available for those dire situations where he didn't have any room to work with. So that's something as well we'll have to keep a close eye on.
And it seems like Tempest expected Tracer to come out, and we saw that Stuka. KSB was having that Tracer. Rich was having trouble against those silences coming in.
And Cage plus Silence is so strong right now. Plus Taunt.
Plus Taunt, plus anything on top of that. Like Junkrat, which, ooh, not banned.
Okay, they're going to leave the Junkrat open. That's well, they could take it potentially, but let's talk about Relic Sirapool actually for a second, because I like this task ban. Don't give them the Trinity that they want. Relic has played in total 16 games of Genji. This is his highest win rate next to Jaina, where he's 2-0, 6-10. He has played 3 games of Maiev. He's 1-2, obviously losing those 2 games against KSV Black. He has some other weird picks like the Hammer, the Zarya, even played Karzium in the double support meta. But Tracer is not really a highly picked hero for him. He's put 2 games played. This will be his 3rd, you have to assume. But what's interesting about this is, if you compare 16 games to 2 games played, this is the first sign that GLuck is moving away from that Genji. It's the first sign that Relic has accepted, look, I've basically pushed myself into a one-trick position. It's time to learn other heroes. This is very reminiscent, I think, of what we saw from SC in our previous series, moving away from the Hanzo pick, moving away from reliance on this one hero that can really kind of pigeonhole you into a bad draft if it's banned or removed, which we saw again in that series with KSV Black. You then struggle to adapt. So clearly in the last week, between the KSV Black match last week and this match against Tempest, 2 tough opponents, GLuck has made some of the adaptations into Relic's hero pool. So I'm hoping the Tracer we see is better than what we saw last time.
Has to be against this kind of team. Tempest now has to choose all their DPS, and luckily for them, they picked up that Tyrael, and we saw that as a great tool in one of, I don't remember exactly which region, but Tyrael Sanctification right in the middle of the cage also got the silence off right before the silence came in. But once you're a second late, if that silence comes in right before, you will never get your chance. So.
Yeah.
It becomes a super hard job for
Probius!
In the house tonight.
Well, I saw Overlord's face, and as soon as I saw it, I knew something was coming, but I would have never predicted this.
That's the Korean caster hype.
Yeah.
That we guys had it ready for us. But Taika's pick up, and Proby, okay. They are trying to go for that macro go around. Try to just poke and not really go into the shrine, but pick up those numbers.
He's great for this map, and he also can help control if you get full control of the shrine with Sonya, versus a Leoric who doesn't have that much self-sustain or staying power in the shrine area. It can certainly be very difficult to approach.
Also really good in the brawl right now, the Deadman stand.
Yeah,
you and I played together.
Yeah.
So fun.
Junkrat is still my go-to, man.
Possibly the best brawl I've ever played.
Yeah, I actually like the PvE brawls. It's fun to bring people into that.
Very nostalgic of the old StarCraft campaigns.
Yeah, it did feel very StarCraft 2-esque for sure. So, let's see how this one all plays out, GLuck. It's going to be an interesting one because Probius historically was the solo laner. And was played by DuckDuck a few times.
Yes, especially in Sky Temple only.
Yeah. When DuckDuck flexed into solo laner, so that was kind of interesting when we saw that. But with Sonya in the mix, obviously Probius is going to be more zone control in the 4-man rotation. So for those of you who don't know how Probius works, or how StarCraft 2 Protoss works, Maru just defeated Stats in the GSL final, by the way. But, spoiler alert. But the cannons are... Well, I mean, I'm just telling people, like, Protoss lost that fight. The cannons can... Okay, well, this is not a good sign. So just to go back to this point, the cannons can give you a lot of zoning. They have a lot of health, but not as much health as the pylon. So you want to destroy the cannons first if you're dealing with a Probius. The pylon, if you can kill it, will unpower the cannons. That's how Protoss works in StarCraft.
Yeah, you can only make the buildings within the pylon range, first of all.
That's also true. The pylons, depending on how you spec, can give you movement speed and other things as well. So there's a lot of different ways the pylons give you advantages. Also his heroic, unless he goes for null gate, which I can't imagine will be the case here, his heroic will overcharge the pylons, which will give you a large zoning area of DPS and can help you control the shrines. Not only that, but his kit, he has the ability to zoom out with his mount. He doesn't have a traditional mount. It gives him a speed boost.
The Worker's Rush.
Worker's Rush. And his W, as you can see here, creates a field. His Q, when it hits the field, will explode it.
Also slows the targets.
Yes.
Once you get the talent, you get.
So there's a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different ways you can zone with Probius. But as we saw in First Blood, he doesn't have a very large health pool.
Very weak against DCs. Some damage even. There's the bind. Seron kind of taking damage. Seems like he will survive. Silence really not landing at the perfect place. But because of that, no casualty done. Red League is able to push the lane a little bit. I think Probius lost its power a little bit more, especially after the lane changes. Can't really leave the lane and go for another lane.
Yeah.
He really has to push in, and compared to Sonya as a laner, it's so much harder to push the lane to damage the structures.
You could see how much zoning power he has on bird camps, for example, but still, they just get out sustained here. But he didn't want to, if he didn't have to, put his cannons down there because you can only have a certain amount of cannons at a certain point in time. So if you move it away from the middle of the lane, you're going to lose control of the lane. He did actually go for the Gather Minerals quest, I believe, at level 1, so he's trying to increase the health of the cannons, which increases the staying power of the cannons when you're trying to control these shrines. So that's an interesting quest. We normally see the kind of boomerang one, the Echo Pulse, where it comes back. and gives you a second possibility to explode your W's, as we saw. Oh god.
Great silent follow-up.
Pulse here too, but not going to be enough. Oh, armor there. He barely gets him there with the parting gift.
Great trade from GLuck, but Tempest still has the control. They have the higher number. And this is about their time. They can still push in with the pylon.
Yeah, now they can actually get in there. You can start putting cannons up. Look at this cannon here. Milky Way gets tethered. The stun is perfectly placed. That's not enough damage to kill good. It's not even going to get hit by it. Gets the dash out.
They have the position. I don't think they should be going in. I think they should be sustaining, really positioning backwards and try to pick up those numbers in that case. But this camp, meanwhile, has been doing the damage. So I think they have given up the first Punisher to Tempest because they were just out-rotated.
So basically, Probius has just been like an off-laner. We have Soul Lane being Sonya, but Probius is kind of staying in the bottom lane. Just trying to soak up experience and push. The loss of the camp in the bot lane is really painful for Probius, though, because he can't really gain as much as he would have liked to. And he has to be careful because of Maiev. So many M heroes in this game. He has to be careful of Maiev. If he gets tethered, because he has such a low health pool, he'll probably die. So he can't even activate his W here with his Q. He's stuck. He's zoned out. He's outranged. And even though he went for the cannon questing talent, he hasn't got enough minerals for them to be beefy yet.
All Rally could do right now is to just wave clear and wait for the time for the rotation and not die so that Sonya in the other lane can actually be empowered in that case. Will be just 1v1 Leoric, make sure Sonya does the most. I think GLuck is trying to use Probius as a bait because this is exactly what you should do. You're using Probius as a bait and actually working on the other lane. They're making it work so far.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Part of the resources for Tempest have really been shoved into controlling Probius, zoning him out of experience range, threatening him, and attempting to gank him. But yeah, that's a really cool point you made. They got the kill onto Leoric as a result there. Gets that trait value, pops back up. GLuck with an experience lead at the moment. It's crazy to me that of all the heroes we were talking about, Relic needs to expand his hero pool. We thought he'd be playing the Tracer, wondering, you know, when's he going to move away from the Genji? Probius wasn't really what I had in mind, but...
no one had it in mind, except for GLuck. Except for Relic. Let's see.
Interesting.
Actually leading in the experience here. Only few deaths. Initial death was not the biggest thing. Now lane swap because Sonya has gone for the camp. Ooh, you need to be careful as that was close. And always put the pylons in the bush. Make sure the opponent can't really see the pylon. And make sure you have another... Actually works as a ward for your team too.
Yeah. He also built into cooldown reduction for the cannons at level 7. So when they hit a hero, they get cooldown reduction 1.25 seconds of cooldown reduction. His quest, his Gather Minerals, just finished 637. So his cannons are as tanky as they will be. I think it's like 580 extra health they get, so that's quite beefy. He did go for Photon Overcharge at level 10, not the Null Gate. Null Gate can be really strong against really melee-heavy compositions, and Tempest sort of is because they have Tychus, just doesn't have a lot of range. But it's just really risky. It has a very low win rate. Another kill on Dami in the Soul Lane, and Lockdown's in trouble. Are Tempest going to lose to a comp that only they ran last year?
That is true. With different roster, but I think they really have to get the team fight together, which GLuck is just out rotating. The weak point about Maiev is that they focus too much on the team fight, the AoE heroic that they have. They focus on one more combo too much. If GLuck just split soaks like this and rotate around the map well enough, not really get picked off, then they can lead the game and push it a lot more now.
Yeah. Look at the pylon over the overcharge here. It's so difficult to kill that while it's active because it gets a shield. And look at how much damage it's actually putting off. So look, a ton of damage done here. Really good zoning on the side of GLuck here with these pylon fields. Great usage of Photon Overcharge. Lockdown again, very low. Gets blown up here. Tempest has already lost this fight. They're zoned away. It's zone control in the shrines that teams are just now, I feel like in Korea, really starting to value and really starting to push for. That's why the Sonya is part of this draft. The bait that Relic brings off in the lanes, I'm so glad you brought that up, because that is what has allowed several solo kills onto Lockdown, on the Leoric as well. Or sorry, Dami on the Leoric as well. And this draft, even though it looked like a big surprise, and you know, we talked about how we knew it was good for the map technically, like it's, and by that I mean it doesn't suck on this map. It's really well executed. I'm very impressed by GLuck's draft.
This is what I was talking about. What I wanted to see from Ace. Recall not possible, not enough to take the damage from the heals from Stukov, but this is the kind of thing we saw, like the Valera last time we saw against Tracer Zero, to having that silence worked super well in that Dragonshire game. This Probius, of course, they did not win the game yet. One team fight can turn everything around for Tempest side. So far in their rotation, what they want to do, they're actually executing what they wanted to do exactly, putting that Probius always off to side. And it's been working so far.
And I know we don't talk about talents too much in the HGC career broadcast, because obviously most heroes that we play are meta and everybody just knows what they do already. Relic got level 13, built Shield Battery, which gives a very slow ticking shield to allies that stand within the power field, which again is further for zone control for these shrines. It's going to give everyone basically a larger health pool. Think Symmetra Shield Generator in Overwatch, something like that, very similar. You build these shields, you can see Relic's got his right here. It builds over time, so the longer you stay under the pylon field, the more shields you gain. You sit there under the field, which means it's difficult for Tempest to break through. And their comp is kind of wombo combo oriented, which is actually why I'm a little bit surprised we didn't see Junkrat come through versus the Tychus that they actually chose, and we didn't see March of the Black King. Warden's Cage is difficult to use if you get zoned out, and right now Tempest is just being completely zoned out by all of these pylons, these photon cannons. Look at these, I don't know what they're called, this W on the ground. They blow up, okay? It's dangerous, you can't stand there. That's what I'm trying to say.
The warp? Yes.
The warp rift, that's what it's called. These warp rifts make it difficult to get into a distance to actually tether somebody. Okay, Relic's the target here, but again, he gets away. And this push is going to kill the keep if this continues. Dami gets killed again alone.
So far, no answer against the split pushing from Sonya and Probius. Tempest is having a hard time forcing a team fight. Now they're 3 levels right now, but 2.5 lead. Sonya joins here. I think they might be able to engage. I think with the level difference, very hard, but still very possible. They have the wombo combo. Leoric's not here yet, but got that bottom camp cleared now. The perfect timing to make an initiate, but no one's around lockdown. No one will get even close to that basic attack range.
Nope. They're just all avoiding the Maiev. They're very confident on this map, on this draft on this map. But this is the map pick of GLuck as well. So they didn't just make this up on the fly. This is a well-practiced strategy. This is the kind of thing you hide in scrims. This is the kind of thing that, you know, you'd be very upset if someone found out about. They're going to show it, obviously, in this first game, but this is a very important match for them. If GLuck wants to go to mid-season brawl, if they want to go to Sweden, they need to continue to win matches against the big three to set themselves apart from Blossom, and then set themselves apart from whichever of the big three spot they will take. If they're able to somehow upset 2 of the teams in the top 3 right now, they've got a great chance of going to mid-season brawl. This is just one draft they're showing us, but I get the feeling there's going to be more the rest of this series. Okay, Relic gets tethered this time, gets tossed by the garage. This time he's going to get blown up. Got a little bit too close there, a little bit too greedy. Pulse Bomb also going to miss. They're going to actually lose control of the shrine this time.
Down, good initiate, and also good dodge with the vault. Sion actually throwing lockdown in so that he gets in range. That was what they were having the problem. Here comes the cage and the taunt. They have the CC, the wombo combo. Not enough damage. There's the entomb. Maybe gets the Sarah on so much healing comes out.
Zank is really good. Imagine if they had Probius here. It'd be a lot better. Still dead for 10 more seconds, but wow, what a fight. Good disengage, and then making it into a potential one fight.
They have 4v5. They have 4v5 and 16 talent plus the level scaling that made them have that 4v5 right now, but the silence coming in, the bind Going to be another kill, but still making that happen. 3v5 right here. The Overlord going out of his mind with the kills.
I feel like they should have played a little bit more passively during this moment, though, because if they had just bought a little bit more time for Probius to get here rather than trying to be more aggressive, they might have actually been able to retake control of the Shrine. They were even, like, down 2 defenders. Now they're down 10. Now they're going to have to split and soak. And, you know, the bot push is really annoying. In fact, it looks like they're just going to lose all those minions, which is really unfortunate. Relic's definitely going to die here, too. Taunted. Saren can't save him. Bot push doing a lot of damage to that fort. Tempest has regained control of this game. It's been a rough early game for them, but they were able to take 2 critical fights and get 2 big picks onto Relic.
Big throws. They had the moment. They had the level lead. There was not much of a risk for them to actually fight too much longer. They could have actually used that time. Of course, they might be threatened to actually go lose the keep all the way if they go all the way, but they could have still pushed the bottom lane, like send that Probius instead and try to delay the numbers as possible. But not the case. Tempest, they want to go away. They want to finish the game as soon as possible. They have all their heroics available now.
Probius up in 3. They break the wall first to make sure they can get in and threaten the heroes of GLuck so that the Punisher can do its work here. It's a frozen Punisher. Zoning GLuck out right now. Here's the cage. Where is that Sank? The silence is there. He can't use it.
Taunted.
Can't use it.
And gone without the sanctification, but still Overlord looking for that angle for the pulse bomb.
Okay, good shove here. Relic's going to avoid all that damage coming out. They save the keep, though. They save the keep. This goes back to you said this before the draft was even finished. The combo with Sukov there. Can't get the Sank off. Well executed by Tempest. Still a huge win for Tempest, but not the win they were looking for. They wanted to keep potentially the game. And GLuck has a good defensive setup as a result. Tempest has to back away. Part of this comes down to the Probius pick, which is so good at zoning.
Now the macro control went over to Tempest, and level lead, in fact. They were 2.5 levels apart, but that top shrine fight turned everything around. GLuck, they can still have the split push. A lot tougher without the fort on top lane now. So that's why Tempest, knowing that GLuck can still make a similar move, and they don't really have the answer to with this kind of draft. So that's why they're focusing on the camp. Make sure to have that control so that they're really not too much far behind in the macro fight and force a team fight after getting the Punisher, because once the Punisher comes in after 17 minutes, then they can actually go into the key.
Yeah. Very well said. I mean, Tempest has that control now. They're unfortunately a little bit too late to come over here and steal this. Cannon going to be very annoying to deal with for Dami here. Warp Rift not going to be activated, but knows Tracer's positioning. Looking for a potential pick of a rotating member. They didn't have vision of Tychus for a second. He shows himself now. That's what Tracer was hoping for. And here's that split push you were talking about. Saron coming down here. Lockdown's going to greet him. This is Greedy actually committing to the Whirlwind. That might actually cost him his life. Tethered? Yeah, I think he's dead. It's too slow of a rotation from GLuck. Does not have 20 yet. He's not getting out of here. Can pop his heroic, but it's not going to change anything. He's buying a lot of time, but for what? The rest of his team was coming down. Now they've changed their minds. They're going top. Indecisive here from GLuck, and that was sloppy. Should not have committed his abilities there. Had full vision, everyone was rotating down. Wanted one more wave. And look, that one wave got them close to 20, but could have just waited for another wave top or mid.
Yeah, that's true. They could have pushed the top lane, but because of all the camps pushing all the other lanes, they had to spend that time. In the meantime, Tussaron was basically not really a sacrifice, but once he was lost, as you mentioned, when he used that Whirlwind, basically it was over. He had to sacrifice after that moment, and the macro pressure was way too big. Had to defend that at all. And Tempest controlling this once again with that Saren split pushing. Now it's going to be a lot tougher.
Now the big power spike for GLuck, I know it's going to sound weird, is actually Probius. He has 3 pylons now. That means larger area to control, more ability to use his overcharge, and also it means more area where his whole team is going to be shielded. I know it doesn't look like much, but that extra shield on top of everyone's hit point bars can help you win the longer fight, can help Tracer survive. She's basically got this permanent shield as long as she's under pylon power, and it makes another great zoning tool. They need to hard engage this though, I think. They need another forward pylon. There it is. Sounds weird to say forward pylon in a hero's cast, but here we go.
Having the shield from Tyrael even.
Yeah, could be a Sank if he can set it up. Cage is already out, so no way to look for a fight without it. There's the Sank. Everyone needs to collapse onto this right now. Look at Saron. He's in there, getting that invulnerability. Sign's trapped by his teammates in Tomb. Can't get out. Now look at this holy ground. Lockdown's trapped. No way out here. No way to win this fight. And GLuck is making it happen here. Look, Leoric's trying to steal the last 5 defenders, but he's getting zoned out by Probius. Dies trying, gets the Punisher, so mission accomplished, but at a pretty high cost, his life there. Also, this push to the top lane will take out a keep.
They lost big time in overall. GLuck lost big time overall, but and was I the only one getting chills after watching that team fight?
It was
that
pretty
was
sick.
Amazing. Milky Way, after feeling that silence so many times, he was actually away from the circle. He knew that he had to be onto the side to make sure that he has that sanctification. He was alone at first, but all the teams came in. They pushed in. Even the holy ground trapping, Sign, Lockdown. What a player here.
That was really well done. And they still have a chance to win this game. Like, make no mistake, they lost that exchange because especially Leoric stole the last shots there. Dami got in there and was able to finish the Punisher. He died for it, but that was important because had he died at 39, for example, then, you know, we'd have a keep wall under attack right now. The game would be much more even. GLuck's ahead in experience. They might have a small scaling advantage for the rest of the game, depending on how this plays out, because they have the lanes pushed against them in the top lane, so they're always naturally going to soak more experience. Probius is just going to be up there chewing on that right now, but if the next team fight in this game goes the same way, it's going to be the bot Punisher, so could go directly to the keep of Tempest. There's a lot that could go wrong here for Tempest. They need to use the cage more effectively. Problem is, I don't feel like this is a mistake on the side of Lockdown on this Maiev. I feel like it's more of really good counterplay and positioning by GLuck. They have shields from Tyrael. They have shields from Probius' pylons. They have zone control with photon cannons that have been quested for cooldown reduction and higher health pools. It's a draft that seems terrifying now that we've seen it executed correctly. It feels like this is really strong.
And
I feel like we will see
keep.
this again.
GLuck lost the keep, but not that they only have Sonya. Probius is actually super good at defending. Super quick rotations, top and bottom. So good with wave clear. And can also just keep that pylon nearby. You can just make that photo cannon and then go away. That's also a thing to defend. Tempest, they have to initiate, but let's look at the rotation.
Yeah,
Lockdown is trying to spot them.
It's a good point you make. Look, the top lane should be the one that Tempest has the most control over, but it's actually the opposite because of the camp take and the Probius push. Uh-oh, Lockdown wants to look for a combo here. Stukov needs to be in position. Alright, notice Hyde's angle here. He's coming down. They are unable to find the Warden's cage they were looking for. Now, GLuck's just going to go clean this experience.
Also the slow from the warp. Upgrade is 16, I think gravity.
Yeah, 60% slow at maximum.
The slow is helping them a lot to position themselves, also to chase the target once they have the lead in team fight.
Yeah, slow, it's called gravity well, and it's 60% slow at the center of the dimensional fields. Dami's going to go down. That's a huge problem
No
here.
Entomb.
No Entomb. This is going to be a stolen camp, so again, the top is going to be controlled by GLuck. This is so important because it's the opposite lane of where they need to be in this bottom shrine, and it should be the lane Tempest controls, but they do not because this camp, so intelligent, the exact right play to make by GLuck, and Dami made a mistake, and now they have ultimate control over this point. Relic is going to start making these power fields. Here's the cage, though. Silence is not enough. Sank comes down here afterwards. Bit sloppy there. Not required, but they still have the numbers advantage for a few seconds longer. 10 seconds on Leoric. But the pylon fields are up. He's got the overcharge.
And
it's going to be tough to break through.
Tempest does not have the prison available. That will be another thing. GLuck still can make an initiate. Still does not have a sanctification. But this time, I think they need to be a little bit far away, picking up those numbers. They have the lead. They don't have to rush in. There's a silence. Entomb not really helping too much without the prison there.
Yeah, okay. Everyone survives, though. Look at this, Milky Way with the angle.
Sonya's
They're chunking down Leoric.
Sonya's away from the team fight, so they can't really make an initiation right now. Dami's very low.
And the core is going to start taking damage from the catapults. They controlled it with that camp for a little while, but it doesn't
32.
last forever. Here they come!
GLuck actually got the Punisher.
They got it. The
This will be
core's
the key.
under attack, though. They need to execute this now.
A single kill can actually beat the game. They have Gerolstein, that's the kill. They're going straight to the Keem. This may actually be end up as GLuck taking first set.
Someone's going to have to go clean up this push, though. Looks like Probius decides to go back. He's got his worker rush. Dami's going to try to split push this and backdoor it a little bit. Everyone else on the side of Tempest is going to have to show themselves, though, if they want to get on the core. Dami's plan isn't going to work. He hearts home, and they're going for this keep. Probius clears it, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get a kill here. 40 seconds until we do see Sign respawn.
23-minute Punisher gets the keep. Probius is coming.
Probius is coming. He's going to get a worker rush again in a second. He got the upgrade on that, level 4. They're going in. They're going in Dami with the respawn here. Holy ground.
Garrosh 20 seconds.
Sanks up, but he's silenced. He's silenced. In tide
Oh
2.
my goodness.
There it is. There it is.
St. Lucia a little bit too late. Not much damage following Probius just joining the fight. Garrosh 11 seconds.
Dami is the target here, but he's doing a lot of peel. 45% is this core. The Punisher distracted, but Milky Way, he's doing that damage along with Overlord. Relic's coming in here, and that is game number 1.
GLuck takes game number 1 off of